Homelessness projected to skyrocket. We could be entering very soon a really ugly time in this country's history. It's already gotten real ugly if you look at homelessness, but what's happening right now in the housing market with the economy overall and with these temporary assistance packages and rescue packages, well, it's just delaying the inevitable. Hey everybody, JJ here, you're watching Bull to the Bust. It is Saturday. Happy weekend everybody. It is June 20th, 2020.
Today's episode is sponsored by Boxable Homes. These are high-quality, sturdy homes that can be even hauled using a pickup truck. Boxable Homes fit a lot of luxury in a small, inexpensive, energy-efficient space. These homes are factory-built in the USA and can be shipped to all 50 states and internationally. These homes come fully loaded with wiring, heating, cooling, plumbing, and appliances. Have some extra space in your yard? These will make excellent supplemental income properties, granny flats, or guest homes. These homes are built tough and can withstand fire and weather disasters. Save $100 off your new Boxable home today by clicking the link below.
A recent study projects that homelessness will rise 45% in just 1 year due to the virus shutdown. Now, this particular report happens to be out of Salon, that's salon.com, and this cites new analysis by an economist at Columbia University. The analysis estimates that 250,000 people could be left homeless as a result of the skyrocketing unemployment. The Department of Housing and Urban Development estimated that there were over 560,000 homeless people in the country in January 2020. That was before the outbreak, before the virus shutdown. Dr. Brendan O'Flaherty, a professor of economics who has studied homelessness for decades, conducted the analysis, and he said the projected rise is going to be unprecedented. Now, his model relied on homelessness data in an earlier study published by the Journal of Housing and Economics back in 2017, which found that for every 1% increase to the unemployment rate, the corresponding homelessness rate rose by 0.65 per 10,000 people. That analysis used unemployment projections from the Economic Policy Institute, which predicted a 15.6% rate by July, and the Congressional Budget Office, which similarly predicts a 16% unemployment rate by summer. And of course, we know those actual unemployment numbers are a lot higher. The percentages are closer to 40%. But using the official flawed government way of measuring unemployment, we'll still stick with those numbers here. Folks, we have seen over 46 million people officially filing for unemployment just in the past 3 months. However, this is not the only cause of homelessness. Homelessness was rising, and we've been reporting on it here for a couple years now. You have the skyrocketing cost of living, rents and home prices being pushed up to the stratosphere via funny money central banking, unleashed banking standards where banks can lend out endless amounts of money with no liquidity requirement, with no reserve requirement rather. Right, it is unprecedented. So what we're going to see following this is going to be unprecedented homelessness, but what has led up to this is unprecedented manipulation in the economy and unprecedented deregulation into the banking system. This is housing bubble 2.0, but what we could see is many times worse than the 2007-2008 housing bust. Now, how soon that's going to begin, we don't know, because there's a freeze up happening right now with the forbearance of the mortgages. There's over 100,000 loans that stopped being paid, anywhere from student loans to car loans to mortgages, credit cards, and they are being given some assistance right now, depending on the bank. How much assistance depends on the bank. But this whole economy that's falling apart is just being taped together right now, and it's not even good duct tape. It's more like the clear tape that you wrap presents with. It's not going to be a solution in the long term. It may hold things together for a while, but it's not going to last forever. Now, there's a lot of people out there who think everything was fine. They believed the official story that the economy was the best it's ever been. They believed the stock market being a gauge of the economy. They looked at the official unemployment number at 3.5%. Hey, everybody's great, no problems. Meanwhile, we were already at record levels of debt as consumers in the United States before the shutdown. And yes, homelessness was increasing before the shutdown. Los Angeles County sees homelessness rise 13% even before the virus impact. This is out of The Guardian. In a street count from January, it shows that in the city a 14.2% increase compared to a year prior. The article continues, housing advocates and lawmakers across the state are preparing for a surge in shutdown-related homelessness. Also, the number of homeless seniors aged 62 years or older are experiencing homeless by an increase of 20%. Right? Can you imagine being over the age of 62 and being homeless, being on the street, especially now with all of the dangers out there and the extra dangers happening right now with all the looting going on. Right? A lot of the streets are filled with heartless crooks, and they will abuse people and they will push people down, and who knows what they're going to do. But I feel really sorry for any homeless, but even more so, can you imagine being a senior citizen living on the streets during this time in America? This is very dangerous. I feel really bad, and I'm not hearing much being discussed about it out of our politicians. I hear a lot of talks of stimulus and supporting the too big to fail corporations, the too big to fail banks, of course. That's always going to continue. Right? But where is the help for the little guy? All of this stimulus, all of this propping up with the banking system is going to make things worse. It's going to make home prices stay elevated, and yes, they're still rising. And this is going to continue to make the homelessness problem worse. Another recent article right here, AJC.com. Many fear looming housing homelessness crisis amid hold on evictions. So we have millions of people right now that have stopped paying their rent, stopped paying their mortgages, and there's an eviction moratorium going on right now. They are disallowing people from being pushed onto the street. Can you imagine how much worse it would be if these eviction freezes were not in place? Right, once these holds get lifted, look out. This is going to be an absolute nightmare. And combine that with all of the unrest that's happening right now and the political tensions, right? We have everything coming together at the same time. We have political tensions, financial tensions, right? We have a divided nation, and some people actually feel like we're going to be headed into a civil war, and many people are saying that we're already in a civil war. It's a soft civil war right now. Okay, and there's many different aspects to it. It's not just about the police and the police brutality. And when this thing really hits, when they finally take off these holds and when they finally start foreclosing on people's homes, you are going to see probably things you've never thought you would see in this country. Now, we have a lot of empty warehouses, a lot of commercial property that has been vacated and it's for lease right now. What the government needs to do, they need to open up these buildings, these vacant buildings, to homeless. We need to have many, many more homeless shelters. That's not a long-term solution, of course. No one wants to live in a shelter for the rest of their life, but at least give people a place to sleep without being exposed to the dangers of being outdoors in the city. Right? Whenever we hear talks out of the politicians about some sort of spending package to help homelessness, there's always the question, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for it? But when it comes to endless bailouts for the corporations and banking institutions, you never hear that question. You never hear them ask who's going to pay for it. It's always there in a flash at the snap of a finger for the banks, right? Isn't that interesting how that works? Recent article here out of HousingWire.com. FHA extends foreclosure and eviction moratorium again. I told you they're going to keep on extending this, probably at least until November. Who knows how long after that? Maybe it'll stop right after November for obvious reasons. So just recently, last Wednesday, the Department of Housing and Urban Development announced that the FHA is going to provide a 2-month extension to its foreclosure and eviction moratorium through the end of August. That is the second extension the FHA has enacted since the virus shutdown began. And remember, the first one had foreclosures and evictions banned until June 30th. So they are delaying this. We knew this was going to happen. And this is just prolonging the pain, and it's going to make it worse when it does come collapsing down. And could you imagine, though, if they didn't extend this, how much more chaos we would be seeing right now on the streets of America? Let's look at the home ownership rate. This is the home ownership rate here in California. We saw the big increase in home ownership running up to the 2007-2008 bust of the housing bubble. And what do we see after that? Home ownership ticked up to 60.2%, and then we saw the crash, the collapse in home ownership down to 53.8%. Nearly a 10% drop in home ownership here in California, and that represented millions of people who were considered homeowners. Of course, many of them took out mortgages that were too big, so they really shouldn't have been considered homeowners because it was just a big loan. And all those people that lost their homes turned into renters. Landlords came in, institutional investors came in and scooped up those properties, and now we have many, many more landlords and many, many less homeowners in California. Now the next bust, who knows what could happen. We did see a slight recovery in homeownership to the right of the chart here, up to about 55%-ish. But in this next downturn, in this next housing correction or collapse, whatever it's going to end up being, who knows? We could see 40% homeownership, 35%. We don't know how many people are going to lose their homes this time. Again, because right now everything's being frozen. There's holds put on the foreclosures. We don't know the true impacts of all this unemployment and the shutdown recession that we went into starting in March. You see, the boom and bust cycles that are created via this current banking system allows the rich to get richer. It allows the already wealthy to come in and buy when everything collapses. And then you see the investors like Warren Buffett, for example. He took a heavy stake in real estate investment firms in the last housing crash, and it ended up making people like Warren Buffett a lot wealthier. And that's likely what's going to happen again in this next downturn, but to a much larger degree, unfortunately. But I hope you're prepared. You and I think we're going to be on the right side of this. Unfortunately, the rest of the country, not so many people are going to be prepared for or ready for this at all. Keep riding the bull, preparing for the bear. Also, if you're in a cash-heavy position, this could be a great buying opportunity coming here probably the beginning of 2021 would be my estimate, my guess, but you just never know. Let me know what you think down in comments. What are you doing to prepare for this? Are we going to see that 45% rise in homelessness, and what are the cities going to look like? What are the downtown areas, especially the larger cities, what are they going to look like if that happens? Could be an absolute nightmare. I hate to say it. I don't want to see this happen to our country, to our cities, but the writing's been on the wall for a long time, and I think most of us are not really even surprised by this, even though these numbers are pretty dreary, and there's a lot of gloom data here, but it's no surprise to many of us that have been paying attention. Thanks everybody for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, please. Hope to see you here again soon. Bye for now, y'all.